Hi everyone, good afternoon. Welcome to Zero to One, presented by Duet Circle. We've been running Zero to One for many weeks now, and today happens to be the 60th episode. And we've been talking about many topics that are relevant for startups, freelancers, small businesses, entrepreneurs, everyone who wants to be a doer. We've touched on personal branding, marketing topics, tech topics, and today we are going to touch on one of the most important topics for any business, and that's sales. One would even say you do business to get sales, revenue in, right? That's like the primary reason to do a business. Obviously, you also do for the kick, the interest to solve a problem, to generate new ideas, to change the world. All of that is true, but sales happens to be one of the primary drivers. And today, to talk about sales and introduce a framework for scalable sales, we have Romka from Growise Solutions, and she's the managing partner at Growise Solutions. Romka, thank you very much for accepting our invitation, and I'm sure the audience will find this very useful, something that they can practice immediately, I guess. And also, anyone who's not joining today will also be able to join our YouTube channel and listen to this later on as well because we are recording it. So thank you very much, Romka, again, and over to you. I'll stop sharing and you can share your screen.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you so much. So again, just quickly, a word of gratitude to Doer Circle for having me today. And I do hope that I will be able to deliver value to you today in a practical ways. You will be able to walk away with some practical tips to get your sales going the right way. So I'm going to start sharing.
Ah,
Oh. Okay, hang on. What would I like to share? Hang on. Screens. So I guess I'm just gonna share the first desktop. Okay. Okay. Oh, it's very slow. Okay.
yeah,
Sorry,
we
guys.
can
It's
see. Yeah, we can
great.
see the screen. Yeah.
It's very slow though. Okay. All right. Oops. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
All good.
So, great. So, today we are talking about stopping to chase, to start closing, and some useful frameworks for scalable sales. Um, First, before we start, I want to tell you a little bit about Growise. This is just for you to know, just to have a context where I'm coming from, what's our expertise, so that you can connect the dots a little bit. We are an advisory and consultancy company that is helping companies in all things sales. So we will focus on optimizing and augmenting your sales engine, your sales strategy, as well as your sales operations, opportunity lifecycle, as well as go-to-market strategy, be it to increase your sales and growth within the existing markets, as well as going into new markets. The core team, there are 3 founders. There is more of us, but I just want to introduce you to the 3 of us. My name is Romka Walkowiak. I'm the managing partner of Growise Solutions. There is also Cornelia Schuler and Lana De Silva. They are not here with us today, but the 3 of us are at the helm of Growise. And our mission is to be the catalyst for exponential business growth by transforming APAC B2B businesses into a scalable and predictable sales engine and revenue acceleration. So that's exactly what we are here to do today. Data shows that 75% of startups don't survive beyond 3 to 5 years. That's from Harvard Business School data. And we strongly believe that it doesn't have to be like that, that if founders become more intentional about their sales, they have a repeatable and good quality sales process in place. They know how to hire sales superstars. And if they have in place a long term go to market strategy, that will bring them success. So I will tackle some of these things today. Obviously, we have only an hour, so I won't be able to give you all of it, but you can always come to me afterwards and I will be happy to share the advice. So, what we are going to cover today, we are going to talk about foundation and mindset, and that's important. What is the mindset that you have in terms of sales when you're wearing your sales hat as a founder or CEO? Ideal customer profile, super important, and I'll tell you why. And I'm going to share with you value selling framework. And if we have, I have a bonus, a bonus elevator pitch for your company if we have time. So foundation and mindset. Why B2B companies often struggle with sales, and what is that shift, that mindset shift that founder has to do? There is a few things that need to happen here. First, it is a mindset shift from selling with product and selling with features of the product. So basically going for a customer meeting and being the one talking all the time about the product and basically putting every single feature of the product in front of the customer versus selling with value. I'll dig into that. That's the first mindset shift that a founder or a CEO needs to make. The other thing is to be very, very precise about ideal customer profile, and I'll define that. Why is this important? It's important because you don't want to find yourself or your sales team in a land of leads that go nowhere. You want to go into doing sales with people who for whom there is a certain problem that they need to solve and it's important to them. So that's another thing. So you don't want to go after everybody and anybody just to get a sale, because that is going to again um, inflate your pipeline without closing. So let's dig into that. If you are the one and only, meaning you are a founder or CEO who is driving more than 60% of your revenues and leads, that means you are a bottleneck. Sorry to say, but that's the truth. And we need to change that. It is not good for founders to be involved in majority of their deals, unless a founder is the only salesperson in the company. Then I understand that, then that's a little bit of a different story. But I'm assuming some of you may have one salesperson or a sales team already, and if that's the case, then as a founder you shouldn't be involved in the majority of the sales. You should be enabling your sales team so that they are independent in finding business and closing business, because then you are going to be everywhere but really nowhere. You will be in the trenches, you will be closing business, you will be a marketing person, you will be a strategy person. There are so many other things that you need to be involved in from strategic point of view to be able to take your company forward, that you don't have time to also be a seller. And again, you don't want to drown in leads that go nowhere. And maybe some of you are going to say, I've tried to have a sales team, but I've failed. Well, we're going to talk about why sales teams are failing as well. It may be that you didn't hire well. It may be that you didn't enable well. It may be that you didn't have a repeatable sales process as well. So we're going to tackle all these things today. So why sales teams underperform? One of the main things is lack of clear ideal customer profile. I will break it down exactly what it is, but that's the ICP in short. And like I mentioned, 75% of startups go out of business within 3 to 5 years of their existence. And according to CB Insights, 42% of them are actually are getting broken because of the issues related to go-to-market strategy and sales strategy issues such as like lack of precise product market fit and go-to-market strategy. So the absence of that well-documented and well-executed go-to-market strategy is a primary structural weakness and is leading contributor to the high failure rate and problems with scaling. So why is it important to have it defined? It's important to have it defined because, again, you want to be able to have conversations, read leads with people for whom a specific problem that you're trying to solve is important. That means that they will have the urgency to buy from you. They will probably have a budget, not always, but some of them will. They will have enough of the decision power to be able to take that decision about the purchase, and the buck basically stops with them. So the element that is very closely related to clear ideal customer profile is the problem that you are solving. And that's kind of a one other thing I want to mention. It's not here on the slide, but it's closely related with ideal customer profile, and it's extremely important. If you don't have clarity, what is the problem that you are solving and to whom that problem is important, it is going to be very difficult for you to build a value conversation to your clients and make an impact with your product. That's why you need to be extremely precise about what problem you are solving, and then ask yourself a next question: to whom that problem is important or crucial. The other thing is no repeatable outbound strategy. That's also one of the elements contributing to why sales teams underperform. And I've spoken to so many founders who say, we are basing our business on our network. So that's kind of an inbound strategy, right? And it's based on existing relationships, but that's going to dry up really quickly. If you don't invest in outbound strategy simultaneously with maximizing your current network, it's going to be very difficult for you to scale. You're going to dry up your pipeline, and then what? There is nothing. It will be very difficult for you to have a predictable and consistent, most importantly, stream of revenue. The other one is no real sales playbook. So what does that mean? That means a repeatable sales process. And what is a repeatable sales process? Repeatable sales process is basically a definition of every stage in your sales process. So it needs to be defined, it needs to be documented, because, like I mentioned before, you don't want to be a bottleneck as a founder and CEO. You want to be able to enable your salespeople to sell with the same quality of sales conversation as you, so that you can step out at some point and look after your product, look after your strategy, look after your partnerships, and whatnot. And the other thing as well is no training and accountability. So that's another thing. So enablement I spoke about, but accountability measures are basically key KPIs, key performance indicators. You want to have it identified for yourself, for your business, as well as for your salespeople, because you want to be able to measure the success of the business in a consistent way. So those KPIs can be close rates. It can be obviously setting up the targets and reaching the targets. It can be related with lifetime value of a customer, which is basically how much money is one customer bringing to you throughout their lifetime with you. and many other things. And then hope-based CRM. So that's another thing. You want a standardized sales playbook. You want a standardized KPIs in your organization so that you avoid a pitfall of your salespeople forecasting, every salesperson forecasting differently, for example, to you, and not therefore not being able to give you the predictability of the business that you need to be able to scale. So what are the elements of ideal customer profile? I want to dig into that because that one is extremely important. So firmographics, well, what I want to do, I want you to think about it as a funnel. We are starting from most general criteria to the most specific criteria. I'm just trying to move myself a little bit higher so that, okay. So firmographics, this is everything and anything from the industry perspective, geography perspective, company size, technology stack they have, are they public or private, things like that. So for example, if you're building your go-to-market strategy, you need to know which countries you want to go into, which industry is the perfect product fit for you. Are these industries private industries or is the government your ICP? How big is that company? The other one is extremely important. The next one, pain points. So who feels the stress if they don't solve the problem that your product solves? Who will feel the pain? So you need to identify that person. And what is the pain? The pain can be defined as frustration. It can be a decline in the business. It can be low productivity. It can be really anything. But what you want here, you want to identify the person, like I mentioned before, who is going to feel the pain of not solving the problem. The other one is buying triggers. So what is the need? How urgent it is for your ideal customer to solve the problem that they are having. Do they have the power to purchase? Extremely important one. You want to be talking to decision makers, ultimate decision makers. You don't want to be talking to influencers around the decision maker. Just you don't want to be talking to just your champions. You want to be talking to the decision maker. Very often decision maker is going to hold the budget as well, but not always. Data says that on average across all segments, from SMEs to large corporations, on average, there are 9 decision makers that participate in the purchasing decision. So purchasing decisions are very often democratized, right? So there's going to be ultimate decision maker who is going to be listening to influencers all around. So you need to so-called multi-thread, which means you need to have those relationships around the decision maker, but you need to have build a relationship with the decision maker and the budget holder. And the last one here is willingness to change. That's an interesting one and very important one, because if there is no willingness to change, it is going to be extremely difficult for you to sell. So how painful is the problem that a customer is facing? And is it painful enough for them to change? And the last one is budget and decision process. So I touched on it a little bit already. Who holds the budget? Who needs to approve? And who is the main decision maker? Who else is participating in the decision making process? All these questions, especially when it comes to buying triggers, pain points, and budget and decision process. So those last 3 ones. This should be an outcome of a well-performed discovery conversation. So remember when I mentioned mindset? That's the mindset shift that we need to do. Instead of on the first meeting with a customer going into a demo, that's probably a mistake. what should happen is that you're asking a lot of questions. You have a conversation with your ICP based on curiosity about their business, trying to understand what are their pain points, asking questions about what keeps you up at night. How is your business doing? What are the 3 top pain points that you have? Who is taking decisions about solving those pain points? By when do you need to solve them? Are you the ultimate decision maker? Who is holding the budget? Who else is involved in the decision making process? So the rule of thumb is that the customer talks 80% of the time, you talk only 20% of the time during that discovery phase. It can be one call or a meeting, but it can be multiple if an account is a little bit bigger and you're talking to multiple people. Only after that, you're going to come in with your product. And when you're coming in with pitching your product, you should be choosing only the features of your product that are relevant to the pain points and draw that parallel. This way, your pitch is going to be much more impactful. So let's move on. Oh, okay. What I want to share with you is a value selling framework, and that's the shift I spoke about at the beginning and just now. Don't sell with product. Don't go into a demo straight away. Talk about value first. So there are 3 reasons why customers buy. First, they want to save time. They want to save money. They want more revenue. We need to understand that this is how buyers buy. Another element is increasing capabilities in their organization so that they can scale better, they can scale faster, and they can increase revenue. This is why CEOs buy. So don't sell your product, sell the value. Have a value conversation, and having a value conversation is anchored in a really strong discovery phase. If you don't do the discovery phase, if you don't ask all these questions that I spoke about to your customers, you will catch yourself in darkness and then not knowing what to pitch exactly, and you're going to end up pitching everything. The danger with that is that if you're going to be pitching everything in your product, there may or may not be a good match, right? So you will dilute your value proposition, you will leave your customer confused, and they may take longer to buy or they may walk away. Essentially, if you have a really strong value proposition that is leading and that is connecting the dots between the problem that they have, the pain points that they have, with the features of your product that are solving those particular pain points, you're only going to focus on what matters to the customer, and therefore they will feel more urgency to buy from you. So what do we like? Let's break it down. What does it mean? You have to believe what you're selling, right? So you need to like your product. That goes without saying. You need to know your customer. So that's what I was just talking about. Discovery, discovery, discovery. Know everything about them and show them that you know everything about them. Teach them. That's another thing. There is a lot of data as well around the quality of the salespeople and the outcomes that they get when they teach customers about their world. So if you sell your product or your service, obviously you're going to be an expert in that particular domain. Deliver value to the customer. Teach them something that they probably don't know about that domain. And they will be interested, they will be grateful to you for that knowledge, and they will have a different perspective. This way, it's going to be much easier for you to build that value conversation. Visualize the real world benefits. Thoughtful interaction. So like I mentioned, add value in any interaction. Be generous with information that you are sharing with your customers, because this way you're going to build a really strong relationship and stay human. So I want to say that I wanted to emphasize that one because there's a lot of conversation about AI lately. And I think that AI is going to make um, a lot of impact on how we are selling, but how efficient we are in the way we are selling. But it won't be able to build the relationships for you. And sales are actually made on the basis of the relationships you're going to have with your clients. The deeper the relationship you're going to build on the basis of the value you are delivering to your clients, the faster and the more certain the sale is going to be. So what is the value selling formula? It looks a little bit complicated. It's not. So how do we define a qualified prospect? So this is for, I'm showing this for you because I want you to be able to kind of run your current pipeline through that funnel here so that you can exactly define if you have good quality prospects in your pipeline or not. So do they understand your differentiated vision match? Should they buy? Meaning, um, are you on the same page when it comes to the pain points and the solution that you are providing for those pain points? Value, is it worth it to them? So when there is a strong vision match, the value is going to be automatically strong as well. Because if the problem is big enough and it costs the cost of inaction is large enough for the customer, it will be worth it for them to invest in you. The other one is, can they buy? Power. So are they the decision makers, the ultimate decision makers? Can they say yay or nay to that sale? You should be talking to these people. And when will they buy? Always qualify the timeline. And the questions around the timeline is not just as simple as by when do you need to solve this problem. It's a good question as well. But very often, if a problem is important enough, there will be some budget behind it and assigned already. And there is going to be a project or an initiative that has been formed in the company to solve it. So questions around, what is the project that you have in place at the moment to solve it? Do you have a budget assigned to it? What is the initiative that you're working on to solve it at the moment? By when do you need to provide deliverables? These are the questions to ask. Common pitfalls. I want to talk about that because I would like you to avoid them. So we pitch out about our services too soon. I spoke about it and a lot today, and this is something I want you to really remember and walk away from pitching your features and going into a demo straight away. It's kind of like throwing spaghetti on the wall and seeing what sticks. That's not what you want. You want the interaction with your decision maker to be intentional and in the topic that interests them. So the pain points that interest them. We treat everyone as size fits all. No. You have a different conversation with a decision maker. You have a different conversation with influencers. You will have a different conversation with somebody who holds budget. There's going to be a different conversation with your champions. So somebody who's friendly to you in an organization and people who might be blockers. So every conversation needs to be personalized. Excuse me. We go to a demo without spending time with the client's problem. Discovery. I'm not going to stop on that one too much because we spoke about it. And when there is no power, no urgency, no budget, or no time, walk away. It's not going to close. You're gonna be stranded in the circle of follow-ups that are only going to be taking time, and it's not going to happen. You must have minimum two out of those four things. You need to be speaking with the ultimate decision makers. You need to understand how urgent it is for them to solve the problem they are having. You need to understand if there is a budget assigned to it, because if there isn't, that's a red flag. And what is the timeline to solve the problem? So with that, that's kind of all I had for today. What I want to show you is that we have a number of toolkits. If you need an immediate help, go to that website. This is something that we prepared for founders. If you need a territory plan, or you have a sales team, you don't know how to hire. There's all of that is there. There is sales efficiency playbook about the cadence, so that sales operations accountability I spoke about. Um, there is a pitch framework that I have here for you. It's normally we would do an exercise about it, but we don't have time today. This is a framework for elevator pitch. It basically shows you how to form your elevator pitch to potential clients really quickly when you have only a few minutes with them. Um, if you're hiring, join us for a free webinar next Thursday at 11. We have really cool two speakers. One is a CEO of File AI, Christian Schneider, and Yining Wang, executive partner of Sincere Alignment Group Global, who also brought one of his company's IPO. So this is going to be a really cool conversation. And if you are in Singapore, we are holding a practical breakfast. You can register here. That's on the 4th of December. I would like to invite you for that, because you will walk away with a plan for next year. We will give you frameworks. We will give you handouts on how to exactly structure fast start of your sales for next year. So join me as well. Find me on social media. Email me at Romka@Growise and ask me any questions.
Thank you very much, Romka. That was insightful. And we've got quite a few questions through the Q&A thread as well. Maybe you can
Okay.
stop sharing, Romka.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, but thank you very much for your insightful sharing. But before going into any other questions, Romka, I would also like to ask like about your own background. I know you've worked at Red Hat, LinkedIn, and you've had your own sales journey before became a managing partner with Growise. Maybe we talk a bit about your journey, because we have lots of founders and
Yeah.
aspiring founders, and they love to hear about these founder journeys and journeys that people have gone through, and to learn from those. So I don't mind us spending a couple of minutes sharing about yourself.
Absolutely, with pleasure. So, I've been in sales for 15 years now. First as a seller myself, and then in the past 13 years as a sales leader with companies like Concentrix, Red Hat, LinkedIn, and most recently HubSpot. I was a regional director for Southeast Asia and North Asia. And sales is my passion. I decided to be part of Growise because I wanted to make an impact. I've seen a lot of founders and I've spoken to a lot of CEOs in my careers, and I've seen how they struggle with growing and scaling their organizations, especially in the startup and SME world. Um, I wanted to make that impact, like I mentioned when I was speaking about our Growise mission. 75% of startups die between 3 to kind of 5 years of operation. I don't think it has to be like that. I think with really a strong intention put into sales process and sales engine, this doesn't have to be the case. And if things that are done right, companies can really scale really fast. And I'm here to help do that.
Right. Thank you very much, Romka. And one last question on the background itself. One thing that a lot of founders are interested in is the transition from corporate roles into a entrepreneurial or a founder role, right? And you've done that
Yeah.
with Growise, with two of the other co-founders, right?
Mhm.
What was the transition like? What was the reason that kind of encourage you to make that shift? And I know it's not easy, right?
Mm.
Yeah, you have a fixed
Mhm.
salary coming in in a corporate job. You have a family to
Yeah.
look after and all that, but
Mhm.
then you also have this passion. Like, how do you kind of do that transition, or how did you do that transition?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think for me, it was all about the purpose and the impact I wanted to make. Um, and yeah, how I wanted to spend my time, my life in general, a little bit philosophical, but that's essentially what it is. I felt that in corporate world, it was always more and more of the same. And I didn't feel I was making as much impact as I thought I would be able to make when being a founder of Growwise.
Right.
And like I mentioned before, sales is my passion, and helping sales organizations grow is my passion as well. So that was kind of the what was leading me to take that decision to leave corporate world and make that impact elsewhere. Um, I at HubSpot specifically. I worked with a lot of SMEs because HubSpot is a solution mainly for SMEs and mid-market companies, not as much as for enterprises, although it's changing slowly now. But I noticed there is a gap. I noticed that a lot of solutions on the market are going after big corporates because obviously big corporates, they have more money. It's easier. It's not necessarily easier to sell, but it's easier to tap on that money. And SME market is heavily underserved, and founders are left to their own devices when it comes to figuring out how to be efficient in generating revenue and growing. So I saw that opportunity there, and I wanted to make an impact there.
Sure. Thank you very much. And then with that, we will move to other questions, Romka. And you also touched on ICP, the ideal customer profile. And we actually did a longer session just on ICP.
Yes.
So maybe I'll share that link in the chat thread. So anyone who hasn't joined that or watched that can refer to that as well. And what you presented at a very high level was very similar to the thoughts that speaker spoke about over an hour. So
Yeah.
it's, I guess, an expanded version of what you presented. So I'll share that in the chat thread in a minute.
Okay.
But I'll go to questions. The first question, maybe you've already answered this to some extent. What do you mean by repeatable outbound strategy? I
Mhm.
guess you spoke about outbound strategy. Probably the question here is, what do you mean by repeatable, and what are the repeatable elements, maybe?
Yeah. Okay. By what I mean by repeatable is define steps that you are taking to outreach to your ICP. As simple as that, really. And when I say repeatable, what I also mean at the same time that it's documented, and it has to be documented because for you to be able to, to follow the same the same kind of pattern. You don't have to figure it out every single time you are doing an outreach to your ICP. But also for your salespeople when they join you, so that you can enable them in a really meaningful way, and they can repeat that pattern of a process of behavior to do an outreach. Um honestly, like I can share a little bit more after, probably, because that's a very big topic when it comes to outbound engine. But basically, when it comes to strategy, what could be the elements of the strategy is the channels that you are reaching out to your customers with. So is it an email? Is it LinkedIn? Blogs, marketing events, booths at events, webinars, roundtables, really anything. What is it that is bringing you? Where are your customers? Meet them there. Basically, how you're going to reach out to them. So what is the outreach that you're going to do? And here my advice is go warm as opposed to cold, because cold outreach doesn't really work. First, you should familiarize yourself with the ICP. Who are they? What is important to them? And go from there. Make it very personalized. And then what happens after they respond? What happens after they don't respond? What is your follow-up? And what happens when they respond? What is your process there? So what your discovery is going to look like. So things like that.
Romka, you mentioned cold doesn't work as much.
Yeah.
Um, would that mean like some types of outreach, like cold calling, for instance, is not something that you recommend, or is there a process where you recommend, where you
Um,
don't necessarily,
yeah.
or you make them warm a bit and then kind of engage?
You make them warm a bit and then engage. So, for
Right.
example, one of the examples would be connecting with somebody on LinkedIn, commenting on their content, engaging with their content before reaching out to them. That's not
Right.
such a cold outreach anymore. Or
Yeah.
meeting somebody at a networking event and having a conversation with them and then reaching out to them, as opposed
Yeah.
to blasting impersonal outreach.
Yeah.
I think the other thing I want to say as well is that the outreach always, especially to your ultimate decision makers, always should be very personalized. And that's a tough one to do, I understand, but that really works the best. This is then you have a better chance of response.
Yeah. The next question is from Kevin from the UK. How do you stop leads ghosting after a few conversations?
Ah, that's a good one. Okay, so I would say that prevention is better than that having have to solve that problem. So go back to your product market fit definition. Understand if you are solving what is the problem you are solving, and um, if you are talking to the problem as opposed to only talking about your product, and then are you talking to the right decision maker? um, because the chances are that if you are talking about something that is extremely important to them and painful to them, and it's the right person, you will probably get more response. And your conversation needs to be relevant. So again, it needs to be your positioning should be relating directly to that pain point that the customer has.
Thank you, Ramka. The next question, do you specialize in B2B or B2C?
Mainly B2B.
Right. And do you see any differences? I'm sure it's very different, but maybe we uh, touch on some of the differences, at least high level, maybe, Romka.
Yeah. Okay. I think, yes. So the decision point is different in B2B selling versus B2C selling. In B2C selling, you're selling to a consumer. It's just one person. They are the decision maker. And here you are, I guess the sale is is also not repeatable as much as it is repeatable in B2B world. In B2B world, you are selling to a committee of decision makers. Like I mentioned, there's on average 9 people who are taking the decision about the purchase. There needs to be budget, there needs to be ultimate decision maker, there needs to be pain point, there needs to be time. For in B2C world, it's a little bit easier. It's just one person. It's the need is defined differently as well. It can be convenience. It can be a pain point. It's definitely not revenue. All those things I spoke about. Why customers buy, right? So increasing capability, revenue, etc. So that's the decision point is very different, just really high level.
Thank you. And the next question, depending on the target country, how would you change your sales approach?
Yes, that's a really good question. You need to be aware of the cultural differences in a given country. Uh, let's take Asia, for example. The way we are selling in Australia, it's going to be very different to the way we are selling in India or in Japan or Southeast Asia or in Singapore. So we need to be extremely sensitive to these things. The other thing is also localization. So for example, it's really difficult if your product is only in English, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for you to sell that product in Japan or China versus Singapore or Hong Kong or India, right? So we need to take all these things into account. Another element as well is how decisions are being made in a different country. So in some countries, the decisions are more democratized. In some countries, hierarchy is much more important. So again, Japan or South Korea, very hierarchy focused. Europe, not so much. So there are many elements here, but kind of these are the high level ones that are coming to my mind. And depending on the product as well, I guess regulatory elements as well. You want to be aware of these things. If you're in fintech, for example, yeah, you really want to dig into that to understand if it's going to be easy for you to approach and sell in that country or not.
The next question from Kevin. What do you think of remote sales falling into markets like UK, Singapore, and Hong Kong? I believe, although it's not mentioned here by Kevin, I'm assuming he's also thinking of like call centers like in Philippines or India or
Mhm.
like
Yeah,
more
yeah,
cost-effective markets or countries, and then from there you call, as he says, to the UK, to Singapore, to Hong Kong, maybe to the
yeah.
US. Like, I guess the question is like, what's your opinion? Is it effective? Like, any suggestions? I guess that would be the
Hmm.
question.
Yeah, that's a big topic as well. I think, in my opinion, it depends on a few things. It will depend on the complexity of your product. If the product is technical and complex, or service is complex, it is going to be more difficult for people in a call center to translate the value. So that would be a no for me. If it's a little bit less complex, it's easy to teach somebody your value proposition. I would say yes, but what you need to be always aware of is that the call centers hire really junior people. These are not senior salespeople, and that means that you're not going to get the experience in selling. And that's why I would say remote sales teams are probably very good for the initial sales, the initial sales contact, like business development, and setting up a first meeting with the actual salesperson. I wouldn't probably base myself, if it was me, on giving involving a call center into an end-to-end sales conversation with my clients, because I think it may be there is some danger in it. Like I mentioned, these are usually very junior people, so the conversation may not be as in depth as it should be. Therefore, the value is not going to be delivered to the client, to the prospect, as it should be, which may result in a missed opportunity. Customers basically walking away, not understanding the value, not being able to take a decision. Your brand may suffer a little bit as well from that. So I probably wouldn't recommend for end-to-end sales process for a BD a kind of activity. Sure.
Thank you. The next, would you get time to do lots of discovery before a demo pitch? Getting time leads is a challenge. I guess this comes from the discussion we had, before getting into a demo or
Mm-hmm,
starting the pitch, do
mm-hmm.
discovery, and you said discovery, 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 right?
Yeah.
So that might mean a couple of meetings there, right? And then the actual demo or the pitch comes afterwards. And the
Mm-hmm,
question, I guess, is like, do you actually get that time with a lead? I'm also connecting back with an old previous question, like some clients also ghost after a
mm-hmm.
conversation or two, right? So
Yeah.
are we also kind of postponing the pitch in a way unnecessarily if we wanted to discover a lot more?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe your thoughts on that.
Yeah. Okay. So discovery, let's not overdo it as well. So that it needs to be a balance, and we need to strike the right balance. The conversation needs to be interesting for the customer. So, one of the elements I mentioned today was as well to deliver value with each interaction to your customer. And I spoke about how we need to teach the customer about our domain. So it's a skill, but as with everything, if you don't practice, you won't get the skill, right? So it's really important to practice that conversation with customers. Come prepared with what is important to them. What do you see in your domain? Share information, and for example, ask, do you see the same? what are what are your problems in your organizations? How do you see that? And from there, ask more deeper questions about their world, what is important to them, and what is keeping them up at night. um, don't overdo it, meaning don't make it an interrogation. So make it a conversation. So my advice is not to just come prepared with questions to ask and bombard the customer with questions, but to come prepared with information to give as well as questions to ask. So it's going to be very difficult for me to tell you how many meetings you should have when it comes to discovery, because discovery can be done only in that 1 hour you're going to get with a customer. It can be, especially when you are selling to smaller companies. It's actually probably easier to do it that way. When you're talking to larger companies, it may be over 3-4 meetings even sometimes, but I would say probably not more than that, because then it's an overkill. um, so if you if you deliver value to a customer, and if you really talk about the pain points of them, they will get back to you. They will not ghost you. Um, I think it's important to have that problem identified that I spoke about, uh, because if the problem is not painful enough for your customer, this is where they will be probably ghosting you.
Sure. Thank you, Romka. And we just got a message in the chat thread from Yut Xing Wong.
Yep.
In your opinion, if you are going to expand into China, is there a good marketing platform where English is possible to be the main language, or we have to blend in to use China social media?
That's a good one. Um, I would say I'm not sure. That's a little bit out of my um, that's a little bit out of my circle of well, we expanded into China as well, not necessarily with Growise, but in my previous world. And unfortunately, I have to say that everything we did now, kind of thinking about it a little bit more, everything we did was on um, social media in China, Chinese social media, and it was in Mandarin. So when it came like your reach, if you just focus on English and social media, for example, like LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram, the Western social media, the reach is not going to be as big. I think when it comes to China, what I guess is important is to talk to customers, and that should be in your definition of ICP. What I notice is that you want to talk to customers who want to be um, who are interested in expanding outside of China. If you have a product that is global, because then they have more probability to listen.
Thank you. Thank you for the question also, Yu Xing. Um, One last question from the Q&A thread. It's a very specific one though. What tools would you recommend to find contacts?
Ah, okay. Yeah, that's a good one as well. There are many, to be honest with you. There are. I tested a few. I can't say that I really loved it. I can't say that I really loved one that is specific one. I used Apollo that has a database. There was somebody else. What was it? Scalable AI that I used as well. So I guess what I'm saying is that. Try to go with companies that are also CRMs. Um, they have and there are quite a few CRM and a database in one, because this way you will be able to do automated outreach to your clients and build sequences into the CRM, and you're gonna have also at the same time a forecasting tool and a system of record for your clients. You will know what you did with each client, and it's going to give you those insights. So I would say don't invest just in databases, but in CRMs that have databases attached to them. One thing that I noticed as well is that we need to be careful when we are choosing those, because a lot of those tools are come from American companies, for example, and the quality of data in Asia, it's not so great. So you always want to check that, and the way to check that, for example, is to ask for a sample data set.
That's good advice, Ramka. And there are a couple of tools out there, and data are good at times, but as you say, there are quality issues with some as well.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then, yeah, and some have CRMs and some don't. So then there's two systems. Contacts come from one, and the CRM is separate as well.
Exactly. You don't want that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right, we we've passed our time as well. It's 5:32 here in Singapore. So thank you very much, Romka, for sharing your insights and answering a ton of questions. And we had lots of those today. And this is also recorded, so this will go on our YouTube channel. I've actually shared the YouTube channel for anyone who's here who wants to look at some of the other content that we've produced before. You can visit the channel as well. And this video will also go online in the coming days. And Romka's company, Growise, is also a partner of Dual Circle. And their services are on Dual Circle's marketplace. And they also offer a free 30-minute conversation for our premium members. So I'm sharing the link, and if you want to connect with Growwise to have a conversation about your sales strategy and your initial sales hires, you can use this service through us as well. And I'm sure Romka is available on LinkedIn for a connection as well. So with that, Romka, thank you very much. And also thanks to your co-founders, Lana, especially for initiating this conversation with us. And also thanks to all the participants today who joined in from around the world and also asked many questions. And also thanks to anyone who will listen to this on YouTube when it's up online as well. Thank you. And then we will meet you again in a future 0 to 1 session. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.